For clicking on the video. This is David Pendleton, and we're going to cover the rookie division of the Shiruba Springs 9-hole cup tournament. So we shot a minus 13, and I know it's not the greatest score in the world, but hole number 1 was extremely frustrating, and you're going to see why. Here's what I ask. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. It would really mean a lot to me. And if you find the video helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. That just takes a second. And let's go ahead and just hop right into it. So hole number 1 here, I'm using a navigator. Even in the headwind, I just think it's the best ball to use on this hole. All you really need is a power 1 ball, and getting that wind resistance 2 is nice. I do aim on the right-hand side of the light post here because you have more fairway to work with, so if you accidentally hit a great left shot, you're still going to be okay. Now we pull our elevation here, and as you can see, I use a little bit of curl to the left. And then all of a sudden, I get this, and this lasts a very long time. I have great Wi-Fi connection. I have perfect LTE signal here. This is really something the game needs to work on getting fixed, because when this happens, it becomes extremely frustrating. But as you can see here, reconnecting, it goes on and on and on. And then all of a sudden, the game just refreshes on me out of nowhere, makes me reposition my shot. But take a look at the shot clock. It's going normal, and then all of a sudden, it's going to fast forward and give me less time. Regardless, I'm able to hurry up, reposition, hit the perfect ball, and then drive the ball up the fairway very nicely here for a nice shot. Now, the frustrating part about shot number 2 is I didn't get as lucky. I got back to being disconnected and reconnected, and when it put me back on there, I had 3 seconds to shoot, so I had to take a very rushed shot. But the good news is I had an opponent drop an eagle, so I'm going to show you what that looks like and what you need to do. Now, he's using a Grizzly level 6. This is a very good club for a rookie division. I understand that, but you can do this with a Goliath. You can do this with a Backbone. The best possible club to do it is, in my opinion, is a Grizzly. Second best is a Goliath, because the Goliath gives you more power, which means you're able to be at a more minimum distance number. So the thing about this hole is the game starts you up here. What you want to do is you want to start to pull your target back until you get this nice developed ball guideline that leads you towards the pin. A lot of times you can take this shot with no spin. Sometimes you have to add a little bit of top spin to find this ball guideline, but just keep in mind it's here, and it is an uphill shot, and it's played at minus 10% elevation, typically at minimum distance of your long iron. You can see here he hits a perfect ball, and he drops this thing dead center for the eagle, which is what hole number 1 should look like. So best of luck to you, and hopefully you don't get disconnected like I did. But the good news is everything went fine from here on out. So hole number 2, I am playing at 20% elevation with a Backbone, with a navigator at medium distance of my club. Let's note the landing position here. So we are getting a very strong wind for rookie from left to right. Almost 4 miles an hour is at the top of the scale. So you can see here I'm using a slight offset to the left. If you take a look at the end of my ball guideline, it is in that dark green square. It's not in the corner of the dark green square, but it is very close. So just keep that in mind, and that's where I am aiming with a higher wind. Now a lower wind, let's say you maybe get 2.2 miles per hour, you might be able to move that target over, that offset over just a little bit more to the right-hand side, because you're not going to get as strong of a push as I'm getting here. The good part is we hit that perfect ball, and the ball comes in extremely smooth and slow and hits the pin for a dead center hole-in-one. 20% elevation at mid-distance of the Backbone is how I played it. I do think this one gives us a very good opportunity for a hole-in-one compared to some of the other holes. Now, this is going to bring us into our first par 5. None of these par 5s are going to be a gimme eagle. You're going to have to work for all of them, and you're going to have to change out your clubs. So what you need to know is I'll show you a couple different ways to play some of these holes, and I'll tell you the best clubs possible to use for them, and let's go. So hole number 3 is played at 10% elevation. You can do this shot with an extra mile 7 or 8, and we can aim over the first fairway onto the second fairway with a tightened ball. Don't use a Kingmaker because you don't want to reduce the wind. If you have a lower level extra mile, you need to do one of two things. One, you need to use a Berserker to do the same shot, Or two, you just need to play and bounce over from the fairway to the second fairway. Using a big topper in that situation would be best. But I'm going to play this hole here with my extra mile. You can see here I'm using not quite 5 bars of topspin. But I know if you have an extra mile 6 or 7, you only have 4.5, and that's going to be plenty. I pull this at 10% elevation. And with my extra mile 8, I do not push back up into max. I just take a normal shot here with no overpower. If you're playing with an extra mile 7, you will need to push back up into max in order to make this shot best for you. Don't go too crazy with the topspin or the overpower, because the worst thing you could do is roll into the top rough on this hole, and that would pretty much eliminate your chance at an eagle. Now, this is going to bring us into shot number 2. Shot number 2, you do not want to gamble on. And what I mean by that is you do not want to go with a full overpowered shot. Here's the thing is, you're more than likely not going to make it to the green in 2. So, it is going to be most important that you land yourself on the fairway. Getting yourself on the fairway is going to allow you to take a shot with a wedge or with your short iron, and that's going to be a much easier shot than trying to push this ball extremely hard and ending up in the sand or in the rough. That would be worst case scenario. So you can see here I take a very controlled shot, I land on the fairway, I give myself a good chance to drop this shot. This shot is uphill. This shot is played at minus 10% elevation, and the thing I like about this is I'm at minimum distance of my thorn, which allows me to get good ball control by using backspin, and it makes my ring adjustment very easy as I get to use absolute minimum number stats. This is only a 1 ring pool for me. Most important thing that we do is we hit a perfect ball, and we end up dead center in this hole for an eagle. A lot of opponents will not eagle this hole. A lot of opponents will not eagle these par 5s consistently. This brings us into hole number 4. Hole number 4 is played at 20% elevation at max distance of the backbone. Here I settled on 3 bars of backspin. With a navigator ball, as you can see here, I'm using a very slight offset to the left, just because we're getting a flicker of crosswind from left to right. So I'm counting on the wind to push me towards the hole. Now there's 2 things we could do here. We can move this target back a little bit because we're getting tailwind, and you're going to see what happens here. Again, 20% at max. The thing that I don't like here is obviously I hit a great ball to the left, so I'm going to miss left. The thing that I do like is I think the line is okay, because you can see that even though we hit a great shot to the left, we don't miss by much to the left. The only thing I don't like is this. I don't like this hop over the cup. So let's just say even with a perfect ball, maybe we bounce into the cup or maybe we bounce over the cup. So there's 2 things you can do. You can add about a quarter of a ball more backspin and aim exactly where I did and hit a perfect shot, or you can back your target up just a little bit and continue to use that 3 bars of backspin. That's really the only thing that I would change on this hole. I do think this hole is a more difficult hole-in-one, but with this type of wind, I think it's definitely possible for you to pick it up. Now that brings us into hole number 5. Hole number 5, I play at 10% elevation, and I end up swapping this ball out for a katana, just ultimately to get better side spin. I'm looking to get side spin so I can avoid this rough on the left. I use 3 bars of topspin. I pull this one here, and I just take a normal shot. Now, the thing that I don't like about this is I wish I had another chance at it, because I hit this one 334 yards. Now, on my other account, I hit the ball up a lot higher, and I ended up by that sand. Not in the sand, but a lot more yards. And both shots, I had to play shot number 2 here at 10% elevation, but I had to play it with my Goliath. And I would much rather play any rough bump with the sniper over a Goliath. A lot more accurate, just a lot more stable club to take the shot with. But you can see here I'm using a little bit more than 4 bars of topspin. I have my yellow ring here, fully, completely in the rough, and my ball guideline going 1 green square past the pin. I pull this at 10% elevation at mid-distance of my club. hit a perfect ball, and we just missed to the right-hand side. So, what can you do differently on this hole? Well, you can play it the exact same way that I did, and you could add 1 bar of left side spin to the rough bump with the same top spin, and then reposition your target after the spin and put your ball guide line directly through the pin like I did. Or you could play this hole with a quarterback and a katana and just lay up and get a lot less yards on the drive than I did and take the rough bump with your sniper. What I would do is, since I already know how this hole plays with a Goliath, is I would just play it the exact same way that I did if I had another chance at this, because I think we could dial this shot in for the extra eagle drop. All right, that brings us to hole number 6. Hole number 6 is going to be a difficult hole. This one is really going to hurt a lot of people. So here are the clubs you need to use. You need to use an extra mile 8 or 7 if you have it, and you're going to use max curl to the left. You can use a lower level APOC. That would be just fine. That way you can get good curl on your drive. Or if you don't have an APOC or a good extra mile, I would suggest you take this shot with a quarterback. It's going to be a very accurate club. It's going to provide you good curl, and you'll be able to execute this drive with any of those clubs. Shot number 2, if you have a high sniper, you can take shot number 2 with a sniper. If you don't, you need to bring your big dog, and I'm going to show you both shots with the sniper and with the big dog. But most importantly, we're going to play full top spin, full side spin to the left. I do suggest you use a Kingmaker if you have it. If you don't, you need to use a Titan or a Katana, and you really need to get that side spin and curl to work. I'm putting my yellow ring, as you can see here, on the rough line, and I pull this one at medium distance of my club with max curl to the left. Now, we do hit a perfect ball, which is obviously best case scenario. So you can see here we bounce from fairway to fairway, and we roll up with no fear of going into the rough. This is really best case scenario on your drive. Leaves us with shot number 2. This is shot number 2. It's uphill. It's minus 10% elevation, and this is me playing with the sniper. I didn't want to try to go over the rough with the sniper because the sniper is not a powerful club. So I am showing you a shot where you bounce over. Here, ultimately, I just use a little bit too much topspin. But that's okay, it doesn't matter, as the ball stops very nicely onto the back of the fringe here. And this is an easy chip in to save our eagle. If you want to go with the big dog approach, here's what that looks like. So big dog here, I'm going to end up showing you what I don't want to do. With the big dog, I don't want to play this shot. I don't want to go over from fairway to fairway because you have to use topspin. Topspin on a big dog, for me, I never like because you don't have a good ball guide line, and it's not a club that I use a lot, so it's not like I'm very familiar with how it's going to play out. So ultimately, I suggest I'm going very heavy on the backspin with a couple bars of left side spin and staying away from that bunker. As you can see here, I'm leaving myself plenty of room away from that bunker on the left-hand side. I'm going with an overpowered shot, but not a lot of overpower. And what I'm trying to do is just make sure that I land on the fairway and let that backspin stop me on the green. But here, I just clip the rough. I mean, you can't get any closer, and I roll out. No problem. It's an easy shot with the wedge. So I would suggest you just use a little bit more overpower, and you'll land on the green. Now, that's going to bring us into hole number 7. Hole number 7 here, I saw that we were getting headwind, which is unfortunate. I am only showing you this shot because if in the next round we get tailwind or crosswind, we're going to play this shot, and I was really just trying to see here if I could get lucky. But I pulled out a berserker with full topspin, of course, and I was just stretching my club out to see, am I able to make it to that fairway down there? I go with a max overpower shot with quite a bit of curl. Unfortunately, hit a very nasty, great shot to the right, so of course we're going to be nowhere close to landing this shot. This is a very high-risk shot, but the nice part about it is you're still going to get the birdie no matter what. So par 4, you're going to pick up the birdie, no harm, no foul. What I really recommend that you do is play with your quarterback. This is how we normally play this hole in a tournament. In a tournament, we normally go just like this. We go with backspin, we go with a couple bars of right side spin, and really, we just wiggle our ball guideline around here until we find that sticky spot on the green, right there, where the ball guideline kind of flattens out and it becomes very stable. Here I pull this at 20% elevation, and I pull it at medium distance of my club, and all we want to do is just roll down here to this part of the fairway, and we're good. Don't worry about that tree or that bush. It never gets in your way. I don't know why I have that shot there. Oh, okay, regard. Here we go. So we want to play this shot at 30% elevation, and we're just going to spin our ball into the hole. Now, this is as strong as wind as you can get in rookie. 4.5 miles an hour is the top. You see here, I have my ball guideline going pretty nicely through the hole, so I was pretty comfortable with that. I pull this at 30% at mid. This was no top spin. I was just using right side spin to get into the hole. So that shot is pretty much dead on. It just unfortunately comes up short. So you need to use a little bit more top spin, 30% elevation, and I do believe we leave ourselves there with a very good chance to pick up that eagle rough bump. Okay, now hole number 8, the next par 3, this is not an easy hole to get a hole-in-one on. I'm only going to show you one way that I'm playing it, which is very, very aggressive. If you're not comfortable with this shot, I don't blame you. Just go from fairway to green, try to use a little bit of backspin, aim at the hole, and pull at 20% elevation if you're not playing the rough bump. If you're playing the rough bump, you're going to play this at 0 elevation, and here's why. The shot that you're going to see is played at 20% elevation. This shot is played at 20% elevation at medium distance of my Goliath. I use 1 full bar of left side spin with about 4.5 bars of top spin. I have my ball guideline going through the pin, dead center. Again, this is 20% pull right here at mid-distance. If you're playing this shot, I'm pretty sure you have to hit a perfect ball. If you don't hit a perfect ball, I think you're going to be dead. So 20% elevation made me pull my rings more to the right, and I just barely missed to the right. Had I played this shot at 0% elevation, it would have only been a 1 ring pull instead of 1.2, and that 0.2 would be the difference from barely missing to the right to a hole-in-one. So that's how I recommend playing it, and, you know, leave it up to you on how you want to play. But I tried to dial that shot in, and, you know, my first attempt at it, I missed way more to the right than I did on this shot. But, you know, 2 shots trying to mess around with it, it's just not a lot of time. All right, that brings us on to hole number 9. Hole number 9, the best way to go about this hole is to use a big topper and a horizon. So big topper and a horizon is the best way to go. Top spin is crucial for hole number 9. All right, hole number 9, 10% elevation, big topper. I was really just messing around with clubs here to see what was possible. And I made sure that I had my horizon packed in multiple bags because I wasn't sure what driver that I would use. I pull this one at medium distance on my big topper. Perfect ball, and we power it up the fairway there. You can see here I only used the katana. I think the katana is important because I want a lot of side spin to the left. And I need a lot of top spin here. That's why I'm doing the horizon. And again, this is not a shot we're looking to push. We're not looking to gamble. We're just looking to make sure that we absolutely land on the fairway. And maybe we'll roll to the green. Maybe we'll roll onto the fringe. Doesn't matter. We just want to make sure we get up here and that we don't take a crazy overpowered shot. It needs to be controlled, and we need to be confident that if we do land on the fairway, we can make these chip-in shots. But here we land onto the fringe, and obviously this is a very easy shot to pick up the eagle on another tough par 5. That's it for Rookie Division. I'll get Pro out a little bit later. I hope you find the video helpful. Please subscribe. Please hit that thumbs up button. Thank you, everybody.